Coming up on Mountain News this morning, one local Santa holds a breakfast event to raise money for those who need the help. Plus, the Kentucky Dance Academy teamed up with the Franklin County Humane Society to help some furry friends find their forever home. And animal activists in California are upset after a 3-year-old horse was euthanized. We'll bring you that story just ahead.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 6 o'clock on December 2nd. I'm Madison Pergram. Thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning. So got to get used to saying December, but let's go to Brandon Robinson. Brandon, it is December 2nd on this Monday. We're starting off December with some snow flurries, maybe in some places across the region.
Yes, I'm actually responding to messages right now. People actually messaging me on Facebook asking how much. Well, it all depends on your temperature. If you see anything lay on the ground today, especially those areas below 1,500 feet, above that has the best chance to get snow on the ground. Let's take a look, see what we're seeing right now across the area on the satellite radar. A little bit of everything. Rain, snow, wintry mix. It's all on the board this morning. And you take a look at the active alerts. We will see these going through later tonight or even Tuesday morning. Winter storm warning there for those counties in pink. That's Harlan, Letcher, and Wise County, Virginia. Winter weather advisors for most of the rest of us. Outside the hazard studios, with a little bit of snowflake activity coming down earlier, but it may have changed back over to some cold rain now, wintry mix, because we're back to 36. Temperatures across the region getting closer to freezing in some areas. So again, that changeover could be a factor there. Rain, snow, winter mix today, a near steady temperature of around 35. We'll talk more about the forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, it was a soggy weekend, and that caused some issues across the mountains. A rock slide blocked Kentucky 40 in Paintsville yesterday. Superintendent of Kentucky's Transportation Cabinet District 12 was expecting the road to be closed most of the day, but they were able to move most of the debris to the shoulder early Sunday afternoon. The road is now open, and officials from the cabinet say they will work more today to clear the rest of the rocks and debris from the area. And so the holiday season is here, and many are picking out their Christmas tree. Whether you choose live or artificial, it is up to you. However, there are a few important facts to remember. Fresh trees are less likely to catch fire. The average Christmas tree can use as much as 1 gallon of water per day. Prestonsburg Fire Department Chief Michael Brown says a tree can catch fire within 3 to 5 seconds.
The pine needles will start falling off, which means the tree's drying out. The lights produce heat that's on the trees, and it will cause the tree to actually catch on fire.
Keep an open flame at least 3 feet away from your tree. Plus, if you keep an up-to-date smoke detector, it could save you and your family's life. And the holidays can be difficult for many, especially for families taking care of sick children. That's why one local Santa holds a breakfast to raise money for those who need the help. Krista Frost met with him to find out who he's helping this year.
A lovely all-you-can-eat breakfast with the big man himself.
It came together in all in about 3 weeks.
Hard to believe, isn't it? But a new location and other small issues made it difficult for Santa and Dawn Bryant, not to be confused as Mrs. Claus, to continue their 9th breakfast with Santa. But their mission was just too important.
Every year we pick a children's charity or a child that has cancer to be our recipient.
All the proceeds raised from this event go to help out that cause, and this year,
it's Molly Reynolds,
a 6-year-old girl with leukemia. We actually introduced her to you weeks ago.
I happened to be walking through our living room at home, and I saw your all's story about Molly on your news report. And just something about her just struck a chord with me. And she's a twin. I have twins, and so the connection, and she was just the cutest little thing.
That's when they knew they needed to help by offering families to come to the Campbell House for this event, and families responded.
The event itself sold out in 2 days.
Because these families know how important it is to stick together when a child needs care.
So her family is going to be experiencing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for medical treatments. And we just want this event to help raise just a small portion, either to go towards medical treatments, to help with household finances, to help with Christmas, to help with anything that they may need. So, no child should be sick, especially at Christmas. And, she is in the hospital today. So, hi, Molly. We're thinking of you, and we wish you were here.
In Lexington, Krista Frost, WKYT.
Now, the Campbell House not only offered to host this breakfast, but supply the buffet for families. We do not yet know how much they raised for Molly through this event. And the Kentucky Humane Society donated a heat pump to the Kentucky River Regional Animal Shelter. A worker at the shelter says they are grateful as they have been making repairs to their old one for about 5 years now. The donation is part of the Love 120 grant through the Watershed Foundation. That grant was given to the Kentucky Humane Society to assist animals living in rural communities. And the Kentucky Dance Academy teamed up with the Franklin County Humane Society to help some furry friends find their forever home yesterday. Dancers posed with some local pups to put on the Muttcracker. The dogs were dressed up to look like characters from the ballet production, and photos from the event will later be released in a campaign to promote animal adoption and local arts.
I think sometimes there's a perception that animals that are in shelters are there because there was something wrong, some deficiency they have that led to them being here. This is a great opportunity for us to showcase how great these animals are, how well they do with children, and it helps promote the ballet. It also helps show how good these animals are and how they can be a part of any happy family.
This is the second year of the Muttcracker, and organizers say all of the animals featured last year have been adopted. And hunting and fishing license in West Virginia went on sale yesterday, 2 weeks earlier than usual. Sales started earlier this year for early renewals or to buy as gifts. Governor of West Virginia Jim Justice says anyone who buys a 2020 Sportsman or Junior Sportsman license will also be entered to win a free lifetime license or a trip to any West Virginia state park. Winners will be announced in mid-January. And animal activists in California are outraged right now after a 3-year-old horse was euthanized yesterday. Exactly how Koa got hurt is not clear, and track officials say the track was dry and not muddy after the last storm. We only know there was an incident at Del Mar track and the horse broke down. That's the 9th horse death this year, and earlier this year the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club said several safety reforms were put in place to make sure horses are safe during racing, including a panel to review all entries. Some activists are calling for the racetrack to be shut down. And Iraqi security forces shot dead at least 24 protesters and injured 210 in the past 3 days in the Iraqi city of Nasiriyah. This is what the UN Human Rights Office reports, bringing the total number of casualties to 354 deaths and more than 8,000 wounded. Troops opened fire on demonstrators who blocked a bridge before dawn in the southern city of Nasiriyah on Thursday, and the protesters later gathered outside a police station. The unrest in Iraq's biggest crisis for years. And impeachment will be back on the radar this week in Washington, even though the White House says it will not be participating in the proceedings. As CBS News' Laura Podesta reports, the House Intelligence Committee is slated to release a report on the impeachment inquiry today.
It may have been a holiday weekend, but for some lawmakers, there was no vacation from talk of the impeachment inquiry into President Trump.
If he has not done anything wrong, we're certainly anxious to hear his explanation of that.
This is a failure of the Judiciary Committee to be able to talk to fact witnesses, to be able to talk to the people that have actually been a part of this, and actually have the president viably participate.
Although he was invited to testify this week, President Trump explained why he will not participate in the House Judiciary Committee's first hearing on Wednesday, tweeting, "I will be representing our country in London at NATO," while the Democrats are holding the most ridiculous impeachment hearings in history. The House Judiciary Committee is in charge of the next phase of the inquiry, which will be deciding if there was an impeachable offense to warrant drafting articles of impeachment. That committee will be using the evidence gathered over the last few weeks of testimony. The House Intelligence Committee is expected to release that full report today. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
The House Judiciary Committee will take the lead on Wednesday, and ranking Republican Doug Collins says the first witness he wants to call is House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff.
1 closing and 2 delays. You can see those there at the bottom of your screen on WYMT.com as well. Let's take a look at the radar as we track the skies this morning. And anything across the board is possible today. We're going to see more moisture come in waves throughout the day, but rain, winter mix, and even snow coming down across parts of the area right now. That means we have active alerts, winter weather advisory for most of the region until this afternoon, this evening, or tonight. Winter storm warning in effect for some of those higher elevation counties over toward Harlan, Letcher, and Wise County, Virginia. 32 is the magic number. We're getting close in a lot of locations. We're right there in Somerset, Williamsburg, Jackson, Harlan, and Wise, and snow is falling. I got a report. I actually saw a picture of some snow in the cars and the grass up at the National Weather Service office in Jackson up at Julian Carroll Airport. 35 today, about the best we'll get because of the dreary conditions and the chances for rain, snow, and winter mix off and on throughout the day. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Well, still to come this morning, a zoo in Ohio celebrated the arrival of a polar bear cub born to 13-year-old Aurora on Thanksgiving Day. Plus, hockey fans in Michigan brought teddy bears to a game and tossed them onto the ice. We'll tell you why.